Hello.
And welcome back to Through the Trapdoor. I'm Katie.
And I'm Emily.
And we're going to read you some Harry Potter fan fiction.
Who's excited?
I am. Always excited.
Yeah.
1, I get to hang out with my best friend. 2, I get to read Harry Potter fan fiction. And today, we get to be under a cozy, warm blanket.
I know, I'm so excited. It's heated blanket season.
Our favorite season is heated blanket season.
It really is.
Often, we used to sit on the couch and just read fan fiction next to each other, sharing a blanket. Now we're sitting at a table, reading fan fiction, sharing a heated blanket. And out loud to all of you.
Yes. Now you also get to join us.
So, thanks for coming on this adventure with us. We appreciate you all.
Isn't that fun?
It's officially chapter 7.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I don't, even though I read the whole fan fiction, I don't remember pretty much anything from last chapter forward.
Literally the only thing I remember is that they go to Harry's.
Yeah. I don't remember anything else. So.
Yeah. Pretty much don't remember. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah. It's going to be a good time.
Quick recap. Will had an existential crisis about it all.
Yeah. Harry flu called him.
Oh, yeah, that was last episode. Jeez, that feels like it was forever ago, but I know it wasn't.
It was literally last week.
I know. Flu call at 2 in the goddamn morning.
I know. What was that about? Why are you just flu calling people at 2 in the morning?
Yeah, that's excessive.
Don't be that person.
Yeah, you already were that person, but Harry, stop. And now we know that Harry's picking them up today around 4:30.
Yes.
I like how I say today, right now.
Right now, today.
At 4:30.
Even though it's 7:30 at night here.
Right, and we're just drinking wine. Like always.
Yep.
All right, let's dive on in. Here we go. Mom, stop fussing with my hair. Hold still so I can finish. Then I can stop fussing. Ow! Don't pull my hair. Stop squirming and I won't pull your hair. Mom, where are my shoes? Aren't they in the closet? Oh, I found them. Why didn't you check there first?
This is a true to life argument.
Also, I like that there is no distinction between who is talking.
Yeah.
But you can just tell.
Yeah. Yep.
Dudley watched the scene of chaos unfold in front of his eyes. Diane valiantly attempted to tie Mari's hair up with a ribbon while Will struggled to find the rest of his outfit. To be honest, he felt that all their effort in their appearance would only be for nothing. Wizards didn't care if Mari was wearing her best dress, the one she wore that Easter, or if Will was in a suit. He knew that Diane had spent at least an hour styling her short hair and had tried on more than 5 outfits before settling on her favorite navy blouse and black pencil skirt.
Why are you wearing a navy shirt and a black pencil skirt?
Oh, I hate that.
Please don't.
Oh, no. Please don't ever wear that outfit out in public. I beg of you. Navy blouse. Nice gray pencil skirt.
Yep.
Please don't wear black and navy together. I beg of you.
Or even a camel color.
Ooh, yeah, but we digress. He knew that Will had double and triple checked his appearance after he had combed his hair, and he knew Diane would fight Mari until the little girl let her mother place the bright pink bow in her brown locks. She is 9!
Yeah. The little girl will do what she wants.
Dudley knew that wizards didn't wear suits or pencil skirts, and no matter what his family wore, they would look ridiculous. I don't know, it's Harry and Ginny.
Yeah, I feel like they would wear very, muggle clothes.
They definitely would. Dudley knew this, but he didn't dare tell his wife that. Honey! Shook from his thoughts, Dudley looked at his wife, who had finally managed to fix their daughter's hair. Could you please check and see if Harry's here yet? It's almost 4:30. I've got it, Mom, Will shouted from the top of the stairway. Dudley could see the joy on his son's face as the boy slid down the banister. Despite his mother's protest, the 11-year-old wizard threw open the front door, half expecting Harry to appear in a cloud of smoke. With a sigh, Will turned back to his mother. "Not here yet, Mom." Diane set Mari down. When did you pick her up?
Why are you carrying your 9-year-old child around?
We must have been very independent 9-year-olds. Is this normal?
I don't feel like it is.
Oh my. Diane set Mari down before inspecting her own appearance. "That's good," she muttered. "Maybe now I can salvage my hair." Sounds like something I would say.
Probably.
Dudley watched his wife run her fingers through her short hair, fluffing it in places and smoothing it down in others, and picking at imaginary split ends. Finally, Dudley took Diane's hand. "Stop!" A small smile appeared across the Dursley man's face. "You look lovely."
Oh.
"Says the man who has a cousin who disappears into thin air," Diane said with a smirk, straightening Dudley's tie. "Says the woman who has a son who causes bad hair pieces to combust."
That's great. That was a great comeback.
It was delightful, actually. "Mom! Dad! Knock it off!" The couple turned to look at Will. "He's here already!" Mari was out the door before either of her parents could stop her. "Mr. Harry's here!" "Hey, wait for me!" Will laughed, making his way out the front door. Diane and Dudley looked at each other for a good moment. "Shall we?" Diane asked her husband, though it was a rhetorical question more than anything. Dudley took his wife's hand as they walked out the door. "We shall." To be honest, the car was plain. It was a simple black car that neatly sat 5. Dudley was sitting in the passenger seat next to Harry while Diane sat between her 2 children, minimizing bickering. "To be honest, I didn't know wizards drove cars, Harry." Dudley chuckled as he watched his cousin drive. Harry smiled. "Well, actually, a lot don't. There are some wizarding families that have no idea how to use some Muggle items." At this, the dark-haired man laughed. "You know, I spent almost 4 hours trying to explain to my brother-in-law that an escalator wasn't an enchanted staircase."
I mean,
Which brother-in-law?
that is a great question, but I feel like it would be Ron.
Oh, see, I was going to say Percy. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But Percy, I know, is the smartest. Oh, I bet it was George. Poor, sweet summer child George. I mean, he was very, very smart, but we all know Fred was the brains.
It's true.
George was just the personality.
Can we just talk for a moment about how I feel like it should be mandatory for all witches and wizards to take, depending on how you come into the wizarding world, either a wizarding cultural class or a Muggle culturing class.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like, wizarding children who, like, have never had any exposure to the Muggle world, like, learn at least the very basics about, like, what items are and how to use them. And, like,
Right. The purpose behind a rubber duck, which, honestly, none of us really know.
Nobody truly knows that. And, like, it would be a great introduction for wizards into the magical world, like, just about, like, money.
To say the least.
And, like, like, anything, like, how anything in the magical world works, basically.
Really. Because I would be so overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Like, you enter into the magical world through a magical brick wall behind a pub that nobody else in your family can see if you're the only wizard in your family.
Yes.
So it's like leading them into like a brick wall. So even your Muggle family is now walking through a weird door that they didn't see exist until you opened it.
Yeah.
Will leaned forward, straining against his seatbelt. "Really? That's so weird." Harry adjusted his rearview mirror so he could better look at Will. "Well, to be fair, Muggles don't know much about the wizarding world or how magic works in general. Diane raised her eyebrow. But what about the witch trials that went on during medieval times? Were any of those witches real? The Dursleys in the back seat watched in the rearview mirror as Harry furrowed his brow. You'll have to forgive me. I only got a D in history of magic, but I think most of the women and men accused of witchcraft in those times were just unfortunate muggles. Anytime a real witch or wizard would have been caught, they could have easily just used a fire freezing spell to make sure they weren't actually hurt. Will wrinkled his nose. I'm not too good at history. Harry chuckled. Neither was I, and the professor didn't help. The older wizard shook his head as he made a turn down a more secluded road. Boring as could be. Maybe I'll have better luck with a different professor. The smaller blonde smiled hopefully. Harry shook his head. No such luck, Will. Professor Binns will never stop teaching. Dudley chuckled. Old Coot just won't die? Oh no, he's already dead. He just won't stop teaching.
I held in my laughter the whole time because I read ahead. Like, I knew it was coming. What I don't understand is why can't they just, like, hire a new professor and just make all the students go to a different classroom?
I want to say because Dumbledore, but McGonagall's the headmistress now and is still letting Professor Binns teach. Although, part of me is a little disappointed we never got to see Professor Binns in the movies because he was a ghost who was a teacher.
True. It was kind of disappointing. But, I mean, it's History of Magic. Nothing exciting happened in History of Magic. Except for that one time Hermione asked about the Chamber of Secrets history and threw Professor Binns off completely.
Right, and then they just gave that scene to McGonagall. The thick silence hung over the car, each of the Dursleys trying to figure out if Harry was serious about his comment. Dudley realized that this was happening a lot with his cousin. When did Harry suddenly get the urge to start talking in riddles? Mr. Harry, you need to turn around. That road's closed. Dudley looked back at Mari, who was pointing at the road sign which Harry had just passed. Sure enough, Dudley and Diane were able to catch a glimpse of the sign, enough for the sign to make its meaning clear. Bridge closed for construction. Diane tapped Harry on the shoulder. I think Mari's right. Maybe we took a wrong turn? Trust me, we didn't take a wrong turn, Harry said with a smile as he pulled up to the bridge. The sound of the car idling was the only sound that anyone heard for a while. Dudley took the opportunity to look at the bridge. To say it was under construction would be an understatement. The structure they were looking at couldn't even be considered a bridge. It was more just a ramp that led to nowhere, just stopping suddenly, leaving anyone who dared to travel on it to an untimely drop. Finally, Harry readjusted his mirror. All right, everyone. I should warn you, this ride's gonna get a little bumpy. Everyone's buckled, yes? The three Dursleys in the back seat nodded. Even Dudley found himself responding to Harry. Righto, then. Righto.
Who says righto?
Apparently Harry.
It's a very, like, dad thing to say.
It is a very dad.
Like, I could see both of our husbands saying something like that.
Yep.
Along with their dad jokes.
That they don't have children to support, but have already both gone full dad.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yep. Righto, then. We'll just be on our way. Harry moved the car forward, but stopped again. The dark-haired wizard turned to Diane. Diane? The older Dursley lady blinked. Yes? Hold on to your kids, all right? Before Diane or even Dudley could respond, Harry had slammed his foot onto the gas pedal, sending the car forward at breakneck speeds. As the car barreled alongside the bridge and closer to the sudden drop, Dudley felt his entire life flash before his eyes. Oh no, Harry was still sore about their childhood, and now he was sending himself and his family over a cliff? Oh, why wasn't I nicer to Harry growing up? How could he have known that Harry would become a wizard and then trap them in a car before sending them over an unfinished bridge? Why didn't he change sooner? Why?
Just that whole mental rant was fantastic. It was great.
Dudley, you can stop screaming now. Dudley's watery blue eyes opened, just in time to see the car rocket off the edge of the bridge, soaring several feet. 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet, 50 feet? How far could the car go before crashing into the hard earth below? But the car didn't crash at all. In fact, it didn't even move downward. Instead, the little black car kept climbing higher and higher. Then it took a turn as Harry turned the steering wheel. The wizard was calmly driving the airborne car, and that's when it hit Dudley. The car was flying. Very good, Dudley. Very proud of you.
I'm so proud you came to that conclusion.
Whoa! Will exclaimed, looking out the window. Mari giggled as they passed a flock of birds, pointing to them out her window. Diane was torn between being in awe and being scared for her life. Same.
Yeah. I'd probably be pretty terrified. Just a crazy wizard just all of a sudden tried driving us over a cliff.
Right. It took several moments before Dudley could look at his cousin. The wizard was obviously trying to keep from laughing. I'm sorry, Dudley, but you have to admit that look on your face was pretty brilliant. Also, I think that's such a fair way to get back at him for all the years of bullying.
100%.
Because it doesn't harm him in any way, shape, or form, but it scares the pants off of him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it had to be a great, little mini way to get revenge on Dudley without, causing him any actual harm.
Right. And, making his kids laugh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm glad I could be of entertainment, Harry. The blonde dabbed his forehead with his sleeve. Harry chuckled. Would now be too late to tell you that this is a magical car? Will was beaming. I thought you would only ride on brooms. The older wizard smiled. Brooms are our favorite way to travel, but that doesn't mean we can't make other things fly. It was almost 6 p.m. by the time that Harry put the car on 4 wheels again, driving along a dirt road. You picked them up at 4:30.
How far away is your house?
An hour and a half.
That is ridiculous, Harry. You were even flying. You didn't even have to, take roads. You could have just, flown in a straight line to your house.
You won't be taking us off any more bridges, will you, Harry? Diane asked hesitantly, still clutching onto Mari for dear life.
It's been, an hour and a half. Calm down.
Harry chuckled. Don't worry, Diane. We're done flying for now. In fact, if you look ahead, you'll see your destination. At this, all the Dursleys looked out the window at the house that they were quickly approaching. Surprisingly, the house they saw didn't look like the towers of a castle or a mighty fortress. It looked like a normal 2-story house with a garden and a garage, just like any other house that the Dursleys might find on Chestnut Avenue. It looked like a relatively normal house, although by now Dudley was expecting the house to be anything but normal. There was a still silence as Harry parked the car. Will was watching the house, waiting for something to happen, though what he was expecting no one knew. Shall we head inside? None of the Dursleys had noticed that Harry had not only got out of the car, but was halfway to the house before the family had gotten out of their seats. Yeah, we're at the wizard's house! Leave it to Mari to lighten the atmosphere. Ginny, kids, I'm back! Harry called into the house as he shut the door behind Dudley. The wizard looked back at his cousin's family. Welcome to my home. Ginny should be in the kitchen cooking. Cooking doesn't even begin to cover what I'm doing, Harry. A voice ripped through the house. Harry visibly winced, an action that Dudley noted. A sheepish grin crossed Harry's face. I think she wants us to come to her. Come on, I'll give you a quick tour of this floor before we see what my wife is up to. The wizard took off, Will and Mari close behind with Diane on their heels. Dudley almost fell behind as his cousin led his family through the various rooms of the house. Pointing out several photos that made him laugh, Dudley tried to pay attention. He really did. It was just so much to take in. The blonde's eyes drifted to a grandfather clock that stood in the hallway, and a small smile drifted across his face. It was very similar to the one Dudley had in his own house. But as Dudley got a closer look, he noticed that the clock didn't tell time. Instead of having 2 hands, it had multiple hands. Each one with a picture of what Dudley could only guess were members of Harry's family. And instead of having numbers, there were several different places surrounding the clock face. Neat clock, isn't it? Dudley jumped, not aware he was being watched. The blonde man turned to face who he suspected was Harry's older son, James. Yeah, I suppose. What does it do? It obviously can't tell time. Dudley felt like the question may sound foolish to an adolescent wizard. The auburn-haired boy looked at Dudley, then the clock, and then at Dudley again. Yes, well, it obviously doesn't tell time. It tells where your family is at, of course. The wizard tapped the glass over the face of the clock. See, all of us, meaning Mum and Dad and Al and Lily and I, are all pointed at home. Dudley saw the arms with Harry's picture as well as others pointed at the word home on the clock. Uncle Ron is still at work, and Aunt Hermione and Rose and Hugo are visiting with Grandmom and Granddad Weasley. Weasley? Where have I heard that name before? Dudley pondered for all of 2 seconds before looking at James's red hair again. Oh, the same Weasley that gave me those Hex sweets? There you are, James. Dudley. I wondered where you'd gotten to, Harry said with a smile as he joined his cousin and son in front of the grandfather clock. Lily and Mari are playing in Lily's room while Al took Will to the attic to show him some other books to read. And Diane? Dudley asked, hoping nothing bad had become of his wife. Why would something bad become of your wife, Dudley?
I think it's just because he was suddenly thinking about the Weasleys and his hexed candy situation.
I can understand that. Harry chuckled. She's in the kitchen, helping Ginny with dinner. Oh, all right, Dudley said, relieved. So, Harry looked back at the clock. What do you think? A passage of time. Or scene change. Either or. This room is incredible. Will's eyes were wide as Albus took him into the attic. The room wasn't so much of an attic, it was more of a library, filled with magical books on every topic. Al smiled, green eyes twinkling behind his glasses. I know. Dad let me turn the attic into a place I can put all my books and everything. He even got a few chairs to put up here when I just wanted to read. The smaller boy sat in one of the overstuffed chairs in the miniature library. Will eagerly sat with him. I like that they're overstuffed chairs because I'm getting real common room vibes.
Yep. It's probably what Harry was going for.
I can only imagine that it is what he was going for. What's it like being a wizard? Will had to ask, eager to learn. Al chuckled. What's it like being a muggle? The two stared at each other before they started laughing. I asked you first. Well, I don't know. I only just got my letter, you know. Al chuckled, sitting on his knees. Will tilted his head to the side. You mean you haven't been doing magic all your life? Al shook his head. I haven't gotten my wand yet. Dad's taking me to Diagon Alley to get... We need wands? Will's eyes got even wider. Al blinked at him and laughed. Of course we need wands. How did you expect to do magic? Will could feel his cheeks redden in front of the ebony-haired boy. I don't know. Seeing Will's discomfort, Al smiled softly. If you look on your letter, there's a list of required things that you'll need for the new term at Hogwarts. will I be able to get all the stuff I need? I don't know any stores that sell wands. Will trailed off when he saw Al starting to grin at him. Well, my family likes to stop on Diagon Alley, but muggles aren't able to get in without a wizard's help. Maybe my dad can take us, and then we can get our books and everything together. Will grinned, great! I'm guessing you're excited for Hogwarts. At Will's eager nodding, Al smiled. Me too, but I'm a little nervous about being sorted. What's that like? Is it hard? Will leaned forward in his chair. Al shrugged. I don't know. James told me you have to do a lot of hard spells, but Uncle Ron says he's lying. I just hope I get into Gryffindor. Why's that? Will asked, trying to remember which house that was. Al shrugged again, looking at his hands. Everyone in my family has been in Gryffindor. I would hate to be the weird one. Just so you know, your lovely great-uncle Sirius, who you never got to meet, was the weird one in his family who broke tradition and became a Gryffindor instead of a Slytherin. So there's nothing wrong with being the odd man out.
Yeah.
No matter what house you get sorted in, nothing wrong.
Plus, I feel like now that, like, Harry's, like, broken so many, like, boundaries in the Wizarding world, Slytherin isn't like it was, where it's very, like, basically a bunch of racists.
Right. Al looked up at Will. The two looked at each other for a long time. Al finally started to smile. I guess you are. Boys, dinner's ready. Not one, but two voices rang out through the house, reaching the boys all the way up in the attic. I guess our moms get along nice enough, Will joked. Al laughed. And here, Mom thought she'd never meet a muggle she liked.
What? Rude, Ginny.
I feel like that's very un-Ginny-like, too.
Yeah.
Dudley looked around at the table. He could have sworn that when he first saw it, the table had only been big enough to fit 5 comfortably. But now, there were 9 of them instead around the long table, and there was still plenty of room for the massive amounts of food Ginny had made. Very much like your mother. You are your mother's daughter.
She is. Though I could also see her, like, going the opposite direction and never learning any household skills.
Oh,
ever.
yeah. Absolutely. But her mother did force her to help with everything, and she forced all of the children to help with things, not just Ginny, which I loved.
Yes.
Although he was puzzled, Dudley was glad Diane was chatting happily with Ginny, Harry's wife. James and Harry were debating heatedly over something Dudley couldn't even begin to understand, although he thought he heard the word Quidditch thrown around, whatever that meant. The sound of their feet making their way down the stairs could be heard as Will and Albus finally came into view. Dudley turned to look at them and almost forgot to breathe. Albus looked more like his father in real life than he had in the picture. They had the same unruly hair that stuck out at funny angles everywhere, the same scrawny arms and legs, the same wiry build, the same tiny glasses, even had the same bright green eyes that lit up a room whenever he was in. And Will. Everyone always said Will looked like Dudley, although Dudley knew he was much larger than Will at his age, but the same basic features were there, such as Dudley's blonde hair and blue eyes were also on Will. They both had small dimples on their cheeks when they smiled just right. That's how Al and Will looked, just right. There was no imbalance of power between them. One wasn't spoiled, the other wasn't ignored. One wasn't skin and bones and hand-me-down clothes 4 sizes too big, where the other was almost too big for normal clothes that received anything he wanted and still wasn't happy. There was none of that. They were just right. Hey, Dad, can you stop staring at me? Dudley blinked. He hadn't realized he had been staring at his son till he was seated across from him. Will was sitting next to Al, who was still eagerly telling Will all he knew. All right, boys, that's enough talking for now. Harry chuckled as Ginny served everyone. Why don't you thank your mom for the meal, Albus? She made your favorites. The black-haired boy blushed. Thanks, Mom. Ginny grinned, kissing her son on the cheek. You're very welcome, Al. Both Ginny and Diane shared a grin, which made Dudley chuckle quietly. James rolled his eyes. Can we eat already? Harry laughed. Oh, all right, James, you can't. But Harry was interrupted by the sound of a car backfiring. Wait, that's the same noise Harry made when he... Good evening, Potter family! I had to do the hand motion for that.
Yep.
Loud and boisterous boomed as it made its way into the dining room. Dudley and Diane couldn't help but stare. The man had interrupted their dinner, looked like everything that would have gave Vernon Dursley a heart attack. For one, he wore pants far too tight for him. Not that it mattered, they were so torn up, it was hard to tell if he was trying to make a fashion statement or if he was just a vagabond. It's a good word.
It really is. This is a great description so far.
Yeah. Petunia Dursley would have tried to tear the poor excuse for pants right off the man and burned them if she had a chance. The man also wore brightly colored robes. Dudley had expected wizards to wear robes or something of the sort, but nothing as bright as what he saw. He didn't even know purple could get so bright. It was like seeing a light show. Oh, wow, that is bright.
Yeah.
And of course, the eyebrow piercing over his left eye didn't help the man's unsettling appearance. But to top it all off, the newly arrived wizard had bright turquoise hair. Dudley opened his mouth to ask what was going on when the 3 Potter children beat him to the punch. Teddy! And done.
End of chapter 7.
We get Teddy!
Yay!
I love Teddy Lupin!
I don't know that he would be all that crazy, but at the same time, like, I could see him, like, getting eyebrow piercing.
Oh, totally would get an eyebrow piercing, but I could see him coming in.
Oh, yeah,
like a
coming
badass.
in like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at his mom. Clumsy as heck, always knocking things over.
Yep.
And Lupin, who could make an entrance if he wanted to, but was a little more reserved than that.
Yes.
I do love Teddy, though.
Me too.
And it bums me out that we didn't get Teddy and Victoria making out at the Hogwarts, the platform 9 3/4 in the epilogue.
Yep.
And James interrupting them.
That would 100% happen.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes.
A nice one. And you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Through the Trapdoor 16 and on our Twitter at The Trapdoor 16.
Because Through the Trapdoor was too long for Twitter.
Yep.
And you can email us at throughthetrapdoor16@gmail.com with any story suggestions, or if there's anything you think that we need to see, whether it's a meme or another fan fiction, or if you have anything to say to us.
Bye.
Bye.